Have you ever wondered what it would be like to face a pair of man-eating lions that terrorized a railway construction site in Kenya for 9 months? In this video, we will explore the true story of the Tsavo Man-Eaters, the most notorious and mysterious predators in history. The Tsavo region is a vast area of savanna and scrubland that covers about 21,000 square kilometers in southeastern Kenya. It is home to a rich diversity of animals, including elephants, rhinos, buffaloes, giraffes, zebras, and lions. The region is also known for its harsh and arid climate, with temperatures reaching up to 40 degrees Celsius and rainfall being scarce and unpredictable. The Tsavo Man-Eaters were a pair of male lions that killed and ate at least 28 people, and possibly more, during the construction of the Uganda Railway in 1898. They were eventually killed by Lieutenant-Colonel John Henry Patterson, who wrote a book about his hunting experience. The lions' motives and methods remain a mystery, but some possible explanations include dental injuries, habitat loss, human encroachment, and cultural factors. The lions' skins and skulls were preserved and sold to the Field Museum of Natural History in Chicago, where they are still on display. The lion's story has inspired many books, films, and documentaries, such as The Ghost and the Darkness, which starred Val Kilmer as Patterson and Michael Douglas as a fictional hunter named Remington. The Tsavo Man-Eaters are considered to be the most famous and notorious man-eating animals in history. In the late 19th century, the British Empire had a grand vision of connecting its colonies in Africa and Asia by building a railway line from the port of Mombasa on the Indian Ocean to the shores of Lake Victoria in Uganda. The railway would facilitate trade, transport, and communication, as well as open up new opportunities for exploration and exploitation of the continent's resources. The project was dubbed the Lunatic Express by some critics who doubted its feasibility and profitability. The construction of the railway began in 1896 and involved thousands of workers, mostly from India, who were hired as laborers, engineers, and supervisors. They faced many challenges and dangers, such as malaria, dysentery, tribal raids, and wild animals. The most formidable obstacle, however, was the Tsavo River, which had to be crossed by a massive steel bridge. The bridge site was located near two rocky hills, known as the Red Hills or the Tsavo Hills, which gave the region its name. The first sign of trouble came in March 1898, when a worker named Ungin Singh was dragged from his tent by a lion during the night. His screams alerted his fellow workers, who rushed to his aid, but it was too late. The lion had vanished into the darkness with his prey. Patterson later wrote, "This was the first victim, and for the next 9 months the two invisible foes kept us in a state of constant alarm, and very often in a state of siege." The lions soon developed a taste for human flesh and became bolder and more cunning. They would stalk the camps at night, looking for an opportunity to strike. They would leap over the thorn fences that surrounded the tents or crawl through the gaps. They would even ignore the fires and the guards that were posted to deter them. Patterson described one of their attacks. One of them put his head in at the open door of the hospital tent and seized a patient who was lying nearest and made off with him. The hospital assistant, who was sleeping in the tent, was awakened by the noise, and on putting his head out, was horrified to see the huge beast standing a few yards away, coolly devouring his unfortunate comrade. The workers were terrified and demoralized by the lions' relentless assaults. Many of them believed that the lions were not ordinary animals, but evil spirits or demons sent by a local witch doctor to curse the railway. Some even suggested that the lions were the reincarnated souls of two chiefs who had been killed by the British. The workers demanded that Patterson do something to stop the lions, or else they would abandon the project. Patterson wrote, "I quite sympathized with the men and felt as keenly as they did the awful position we were in. But at the same time I knew that if once they were allowed to leave, the whole railway scheme would have to be abandoned, as it would have been quite impossible to induce other coolies to come and take their place." Patterson decided to take matters into his own hands and hunt the lions himself. He was an experienced hunter and had a collection of rifles and ammunition. He also had the help of some loyal and brave assistants, such as Mahina, a Sikh who acted as his gun bearer and tracker. Patterson devised various strategies and tactics to lure and ambush the lions, such as using bait, traps, platforms and lanterns. He also studied the lions' habits and movements and tried to anticipate their next moves. However, the lions proved to be formidable adversaries, and Patterson's attempts to kill them were often frustrated or foiled. The lions were elusive and seemed to have a sixth sense of danger. They would avoid the traps or spring them without getting caught. They would sense Patterson's presence or smell the scent and change their course or retreat. They would attack from unexpected directions or at unexpected times. They would even turn the tables on Patterson and stalk him instead. Patterson wrote, "It was most extraordinary how these brutes knew, either by instinct or by observation, when I was after them. On such occasions, they invariably left our neighborhood for a few nights and sought other hunting grounds." Patterson's persistence and determination finally paid off, and he managed to kill both lions after a series of dramatic and dangerous encounters. The first lion was shot on December 9, 1898, after Patterson wounded it with a bullet in its hind leg, and then tracked it down and finished it off with another shot through its shoulder. The second lion was shot on December 29, 1898, after Patterson wounded it with 5 bullets from 2 different rifles, and then chased it for several miles before delivering the final shot. Patterson wrote, "I was very proud and pleased at having brought my long and trying hunt to a successful conclusion, and having rid the Tsavo district of these 2 terrible and bloodthirsty brutes."